Hey, everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel, Upcycled Adulting, where I help you grow to accomplish your goals, overcome obstacles, and create healthy habits. I am so excited to be talking to you today about how to make the holidays special with kids. Now, one of my kids actually asked me to do one about how to make holidays special without kids because they are single and in their early 20s and looking for ways to make the holidays more special in their own home, right? But I also have a daughter who, for those of you who don't know, I have a daughter and granddaughter who live in Arizona. They're across the country. And so during the holidays, they tend to be alone a lot. And for that reason, I wanted to create this video as well. My granddaughter is 4 years old. And I am super, super excited to be sharing some of our ideas about how to make the holiday special, how to create new traditions for you and your family. And I will also be in this series including a video about my own family traditions, ones we've tried, ones that are favorites, ones we still do. But I really think it's important when we start this out to just get clear right up front about what we're doing here. Like, what is the goal here? Because a lot of times we kind of get sucked into this idea about making the holidays special in a Hallmark movie Christmas kind of way. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves and we expect way too much and we want it all to be perfect and we want it to look a certain way. And it doesn't. Right? It doesn't. And that doesn't make you less of a mom. It doesn't make the holidays any less special. I know for me, there are certain things that I really, really enjoy doing and other things I absolutely hate doing. And so we tend to include a lot of traditions that I actually enjoy or activities I enjoy and not so much, right? I'm not into Christmas caroling. We tried it one year. Disaster. Okay. My point is that finding the things that you love, maybe you love to sing and your family loves to sing, and that would be great for you, is very important. In addition, when we're thinking about kids, we need to think about what's age appropriate. And I have 5. So there's a 10-year age difference between my oldest kid and my youngest kid, which means that when I start talking about the traditions that we've had, you will probably notice a decent amount of variety because, the things the 6-year-old likes are not necessarily the things the 16-year-old likes. And if you happen to have teenagers and they're not really into it, I'm just going to say pick and choose your battles. Really pick and choose your battles. Because one of the things we really want is for these events to make the holidays special, not for them to feel like a war. So, without further ado, let me share a few tips for how to create special holidays, and then I'm going to share some ideas you may want to consider for your family. One is I think it's really important to check in on your energy level, your health, and your time. Okay. It is not going to work if you choose to take on holiday commitments to make the holidays special that end up making you feel drug out, exhausted, that prevent you from getting adequate rest. If you're struggling with a chronic illness, if at one point I have a kid whose birthday is the end of December, I was 8 months pregnant. If that's you, really giving yourself the grace and the understanding that even if you have standing traditions, you may need to pare them back or make an adjustment. It's really important that you check in on those things because the last thing we want when we're trying to make the holidays special is to be irritable or short or not well regulated, right? And so if we're spreading ourselves too thin, that's a reality. In addition, if you're trying some of these traditions for the first time, you might want to try a miniature version, right? A quick version, see how you like it, see how it fits in your family, rather than going full in. And I'll explain that as we go when I start talking about some of these traditions, how you could miniaturize them and make them a little easier. The next thing I want to say is to shoot for no more than one a week. Okay. You can try one tradition this whole holiday season or one thing to make it special this whole holiday season. But what I'm going to say is do not stretch yourself too thin. Okay. It'll start to get distracting and it'll be really hard to know if everybody really hated that thing or if they were just tradition tapped out. This is especially true with the more active holiday traditions. Um, It is 100% fine to incorporate a downtime tradition every single week, but do not do more than one active tradition in a week. And when we get into the traditions, I'll explain the difference, but I think it'll be pretty clear to you what that looks like. That's going to make a big, big difference. We do not want to be running all over, the place and doing a million things. And then we're just like overwhelmed and overstimulated. So you can't tell if that's a bad fit or if you just are doing too much. Number three, make sure that these things are age level appropriate or modified to be age level appropriate. What your 7-year-old is going to be able to do and what your 2-year-old is going to be able to do are not necessarily the same thing. And by the way, for those of you with toddlers like 3 and under, a lot of times in that age range, they don't really have that great of a concept of time. And so we may want to avoid some of these other traditions, maybe opt for things like, putting finger painting instead of Christmas crafting, right? Opt for things that are a little bit more manageable or easy or toy time or things like that. That they may have more fun with rather than trying to create something that's a lot of times not in the wheelhouse of the little ones. Just a thing. We can always put them to bed a little early. We can always spend a little extra time with our older ones doing some of these things in the evening. Again, especially if we miniaturize them to see how they work for us. So let me share some ideas of things you might want to consider this year to make the holidays special. You're going to notice that all these ideas are just about you and your family. I did that deliberately because if you live far from your family too, you may be looking for ways to make the holidays special because you're not going home for Christmas, right? It's you and your kids, or you and your partner and your kids. Like that's it, right? You don't have a lot of extended family nearby, or you don't have them at all, and that's completely okay. So, um, one is, if you are in a spirit community, in a church or something like that, I highly recommend that you consider engaging in events that your church is having through the holidays. It's a great way to make connection. It is a great way to create a community. And so I highly recommend that you look into what's going on. By the way, as a side note, if you're a person of faith, you've recently moved somewhere, you're looking for a church, this is also a really great community outreach thing that churches do. So I would check out a few different holiday events and maybe attend them. In our community, we actually have a church that does a Christmas pageant, and they have like they bring all the animals and everything, and then they have a petting zoo. It's tons of fun for the kids. It's really, really cool to see camels and this kind of thing. It's kind of a traveling show. We have another church where they have an award-winning choir. And so that's always a great thing. There's a ton of performances. I actually think that seeing a performance through the holidays can be great, especially if you have older kids. Things like the Rockettes tour, there's generally a Christmas show in every major city, major metropolitan area. I happen to live in the Detroit area, so we typically have something going on at the theater. A theater night is a really fun idea. You can get dressed up, take some pictures. It's a lot of fun. So I always recommend that. The next thing I would recommend is community events. If there's an event at your community, if there's a community center event, this is really common at the Easter, like where they do the Easter egg hunts and things like that. Go do that. Okay. Engage in that. This is great for people, whether you have a spirit community or not, that you actually, a spiritual community or not, that you actually get the opportunity to meet people in your neighborhood and to enjoy that. I actually no longer live there, but the neighborhood I lived in before, everybody in the neighborhood did luminaries for Christmas. It was really cool because, we'd all donate money, we'd get the luminaries, we'd all put them out, we'd light the candles, all of that on Christmas Eve, and all the money went to a charity. And so that was just a really cool, fun event. That type of thing. I'm going to also be sharing with you how to make some of these other events actually involve your community. The next one I want to talk about is Advent. I think Advent and crackers are cool as all get out. I'm not familiar with Advent. Nobody in my family ever did it. My friend from Scotland introduced me to Advent and also Christmas crackers. Love them both. They're so, so fun. They're reasonably expensive. They don't take a lot of work. If you want to be more sustainable, you can buy a Advent decor thing and you can fill it yourself, or you can buy one of those candy ones that has different chocolates in it, that kind of thing. It is so fun. Our kids love doing a countdown to Christmas. This sounds so silly, but as they were growing up, we always had this chalkboard in our house. It's like got a Santa on it and it says how many days till Christmas. Anyways, and our kids took turns filling that out every single year, 4 years. I just got it out. If you see my holiday decorating video, I got it out. And it's the first year I've gotten it out, and there was no one here to write the number of days left to Christmas. Oh, it was so bizarre. But at any rate, doing some sort of Advent tracking the days to Christmas is super, super fun. A lot of times people do this with the little box things or things like that. Don't get crazy with this. Listen, y'all, you can just put a fun size candy bar in there if you want, or start like it does not have to be anything super fancy. I know some people do little ornaments for the tree. Sometimes people have special ornaments they do for the tree, that kind of thing. I think that that is just a fun, cute thing to do to track the days to Christmas. That is a far less active, tradition. You could do that and pair it with something more active, and that would be totally fine. Um, the next one that's not super active is books and movies. I know a lot of people do books as Advent books, meaning they basically, instead of having an Advent box, what they actually have is a basically a countdown book that they do. So they have a children's book for 25 days to Christmas, 24 days to Christmas, right? So forth and so on. Sometimes that book just appears as if by magic. Sometimes they actually have an Advent space for the book. And so that way there is a new book that happens every day. Also, relaxing and watching a Christmas movie once a week, y'all. Awesome idea. It is so fun to just watch Christmas movies. One of my favorites for the kids is always Elf. I just think that Elf is amazing. It's great for kids and so, so much fun. So that's a thing. Absolutely. All the Hallmark movies are G rated. You can watch them with your kids too. Little ones, I think, would not have as much fun though with the Hallmark movies. I know my nieces love them. They started loving them in later elementary school. So I think that they need to be a little more mature to really like those ones. Um, Another big one is light viewing. So in our area, there are several places that do Christmas lights. I actually consider this to be an active tradition because when you have kids and you're packing them up and you're going somewhere, it is busy. Okay. It is not easy. This is not a joke. This is hard. So I consider this to be active. I think it's really important for you to be mindful that this is going to take time and energy, even though you're just driving around in your car. Some people pack cocoa for this. It's messy. You might not want to. Or other snacks, but you can drive around in different communities. We actually have a place that has a light show. It's kind of a wooded area. It's a park and they put up lights. It's a driving, you can drive through this park though. It's complicated. But at any rate, if you're in Michigan, Heinz Park, you know what I'm talking about. And a lot of times zoos and other places like that have Christmas events that are really, really fun that are in the same vein as this. Like our zoo, I'm in the Detroit area. The Detroit Zoo does beautiful Christmas lights every single year. They also do something called the Zoo Boo, which is trick or treating with fancy lights in the zoo. So there's all kinds of events like that that you may be finding in your community. But I think it's so fun to get the kids in the car to go check out, all the lights, to talk about which ones are your favorite or what displays did you like or what displays were the craziest, because we have some crazy ones here. Okay. Really outrageous ones should be in a movie, I'm sure. And that is just such a, fun, mellow, laid back thing to do. The next few things I'm going to talk about, not laid back at all. Crafting. I love to craft. I enjoy it very much. I enjoy doing it with my kids. I do not care about the mess that it makes. I think it's super fun. I love to actually have my kids make crafts and give them as Christmas gifts to grandparents and things like that. I've started doing crafts with my grandchildren, and we do crafts and we make gifts together. Okay. And then those are the gifts for their parents and their grandparents, including me. And it's just a ton of fun. They love the feeling they're for. They love feeling special and feeling like they got to give somebody a gift that they love and feeling like they are participating in the giving part of the holidays. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. When we're talking about crafting, when we're talking about these very active traditions, it's important to reduce expectation and to actually give up perfectionism. It is not going to work the way you think it is. Just spoiler alert, not going to work the way you think it is. This year we did crafting already because my daughter was in town from Arizona. She was in town for Thanksgiving. And I always try to do this between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I try to do it with both granddaughters at the same time. One of my granddaughters, the one in Arizona, could have done crafts all day long. Like if I'd have kept pulling them out, she would have kept doing them. Okay. She would have made presents for everyone on the planet if I'd have let her. My other granddaughter was like, I'll do a little bit and then I don't want to do more. Right. I don't want to do more. And that's okay. She likes to craft, but she doesn't like to craft 10 of the same thing. And she doesn't like this craft as much as that craft. And she doesn't want to do it for a long period of time. That is okay. That's completely fine. And really being able to make space for that really, really matters. Now, we ended up with glitter everywhere. I need you to know this. Like, I was picking up little tiny beads and glitter off my floor for a week. And I'm 99% sure if I took you in my kitchen right now, there would still be glitter. Okay. Still be glitter somewhere in that room. Floors have been mopped. The whole kitchen's been cleaned. But I am telling you, I'm betting there's glitter somewhere. Crafting is messy. That's the reality. My table is still a little sticky. I have to tell you this. I'm wiping it every day, but I used a spray adhesive and it kind of went off the wax paper and oh my gosh, it's a lot. So it does get a little messy. If you are not sure about this one, if you don't love crafts, if you've never done crafts with kids, pick something super easy and super small. Okay. Listen, super easy, super small. Okay. Pick something that doesn't have a lot of parts. Pick something that's not going to be super messy or super hard to clean up or super hard to get out. Okay. Things that are like, for example, you can make salt dough and have them do handprints, or have them cut the salt dough with cookie cutters, poke a hole in them with the toothpick, y'all, so you can get a string in them. Bake them. Okay. You don't even, if it's getting to be too much, don't have them paint them. Okay. My point here is take this and miniaturize it in a way that works for your family. Okay. Both of my granddaughters, I was surprised, really liked making bead ornaments. It was on but it was on a piece of wire that was really rigid. So they could just string beads like that big. Okay. On there. They both really liked that. Anything with pom poms and glue, right? These are all great ideas, but make it simple. All right. Make it simple the first time you do it. Make it one thing, make it not super time consuming. And if you can break it down where it's like, we did that, that's enough. We're done with the craft, all the better. The next thing is cookie baking. Um, I just want to say that baking cookies is one of my favorite memories from the holidays. I did not do this at home. I actually did this at a friend's house. Sorry, I have a tickle. I did this at a friend's house. You can buy the pre-made sugar cookies. You can put them in there in rounds. You can roll them out and let the kids cut them. You can use white frosting and sprinkles. I promise that's plenty. You do not have to overdo this. Okay. This doesn't have to be a big event. If the kids love it, if you love it, add more recipes. Okay. Make your own dough or do icing. I will tell you that we do not do royal icing. I have done a cookie event in my house for 20 years. We have never done royal icing. For kids, I feel like it would be more challenging. What we do instead is we whip up some store-bought vanilla icing frosting, and we color it so that they have different colors. That's it. Really, that's it. And by the way, FYI, red stains, and if you actually want black frosting, you have to use chocolate as the base. Those are your tips. Okay. If your kids are a little older and they're able to, I highly recommend volunteering. As a family, we've done all sorts of different things. We've done charitable giving. One year, we decided as a family that we wanted to participate in Heifer International. And so all the kids got to pick animals to give to donate through Heifer International. We have done things like packing Christmas boxes, which is something that you do, and then you donate them to different organizations who give them to unhoused children or children in shelters, things like that. So we've done a variety of different things. We have collected toys for a shelter and wrapped them. We've done a variety of different things, and I highly recommend at the holidays, if there's a tradition that you really think about taking on, that you consider taking on a volunteering or community service type of event. It's good to get your kids involved, and it's good to help them understand that there are people out there who need help, and they need help all year round, by the way. And that being able to help somebody, being in a position where you can give to another person, is incredibly special. It is an incredible gift, not just to them, but to you. So these are some ideas about some traditions that you might want to consider in your family. I am going to be sharing traditions that we do in my family, have done for years, and I'll also be sharing some of the ones that were duds, but you might love, by the way, and some of the ones that we're still doing to this day, even though our oldest kid is 30, our youngest is 20, we have grandkids, but the kids love them. They don't want to give them up, okay? And I'll talk through a little bit how we've modified them over the years as well. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that this helps make your holidays extra special with your children. For those of you who have watched to this point but don't have kids, don't forget to tune into my special holidays when you're single video. Alrighty, I will see you later. And remember that you are absolutely amazing and you deserve to live the life you have been dreaming of. Bye, everyone.